It's time to look back at one of Palantir's SPAC investments and see how the company is doing. The company is called Sarcos Robotics and trades under the ticker STRC. And simply put, Sarcos is a robotics company that is headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah. Their mission is to make the workforce safer through the development of different kinds of robotics that can help people in industrial jobs lift heavier objects, while also providing high-quality machines like robotic arms and smaller mobility devices for navigating tighter spaces that otherwise couldn't be reached by humans. So even though we can see that this stock definitely hasn't performed well at all, the whole purpose of Palantir being an early investor in this company is twofold. It of course helps funding for Sarcos, and probably most importantly, it's presumed that Sarcos received a special deal from Palantir so that they can use Foundry in order to help drive their business decisions. So essentially, Palantir is placing a small bet on Sarcos, in the sense that if Sarcos Robotics ends up becoming a revolutionary profit-making company, Palantir will be able to have a slice of that pie, as by that point, Sarcos will be dependent on Palantir's data platform Foundry for everyday business decisions. And I actually did an entire video on this company a while back, as I definitely saw Sarcos as one of the more interesting investments that Palantir decided to make. But regardless, today I'm going to share with you guys a new video that Palantir released and how they're planning to work with Sarcos. And then we'll go over it at the end. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and enjoy.
My name is Kiva Allgood, and I am the president and CEO of Sarcos. The mission and vision for Sarcos is simple. We're here to prevent injury and save lives. What makes the Sarcos and Palantir relationship so unique is the fact that we're really pushing that technology curve. It's the advancement that we're making in AI, machine learning, and cloud compute. And it's their tool set that allows us to be able to run those models and really understand what's happening with the robot real time.
Sarcos has two different platforms. We have what's called XT, upper extremity robotic platform that's very anthropomorphic in terms of motion and dexterity, similar to human. And then we have exoskeleton, which is a full body exoskeleton powered. So you can imagine if you use exoskeleton, you can lift 150, 200 pounds and feel like you're lifting 10, 15 pounds. The Guardian XT is the upper extremity robot with two arms and torso. The two arms are kind of anthropomorphic to human arms and can be operated in teleoperation mode, or from the ground or from distance. Traditionally, robotics is associated with a factory line in which they kind of repeat the same task over and over, but that's only one task. In our case, we can actually do all of those tasks with a single robot without necessarily reprogramming.
Right now, the core focus is helping Sarcos on their road to commercialization. Using Apollo, Sarcos can manage their fleet of robots at scale to be able to deploy software and updates across their fleet within moments. The second thing is Foundry Edge, and potentially enabling Sarcos to not only collect the data off the robots, but do it in a way that is cost-effective such that not everything has to be sent to the cloud, potentially saving them terabytes of information that is probably low signal, and eventually getting the right information to the right analyst or operator. The last one is where Palantir potentially can serve as their infrastructure to deploy artificial intelligence on the robots, and to be able to allow or enable their engineers to iterate quickly on the algorithms that really make the Sarcos robots unique.
Foundry can contribute to many levels at Sarcos. Anything that interfaces with the cloud or passes data to Foundry has a potential to be used as a tool to analyze the data, to project time series, to understand what's happening in the robot over time. And ideally, we would like to use in kind of forensic mode, which means collect the data, pass the data to Foundry, and then do the forensic analysis to figure out what went wrong. Something like microservices we haven't been aware of before, but that has a huge potential to allow us to update software firmware remotely, which is a big capability because we don't need to send up technicians in the field to do the updates. Computing at the edge is another component of this, because we can actually have the model stored in the Foundry and then push back into the edge devices with the capability to adapt to new situation, new tasks. That doesn't require connectivity.
Core capabilities from Foundry, like branching, versioning, provenance, are essentially helping accelerate the product roadmap development and helping their engineers to iterate on the algorithms that are eventually going to be deployed on the robots in the field. We want to help support Sarcos to launch their robot as a service across various industries and to as many customers as possible. Not only from the product development side, helping their product teams to deliver against their product roadmap faster, but also for the business and the business development side.
We'll be able to take their compute capability and our robotic capability and really deliver a unique solution every single time we come to a different place.
Whether it's a satellite, or whether it's a submarine, or whether it's a robot, we want to help companies like Sarcos on their road to building semi-autonomous or autonomous technology, because that's the future of Industry 4.0.
So essentially, while Sarcos was founded in 1983, they've only been publicly traded since 2021, and because of this, Sarcos still has a long way to go to prove to their shareholders that they can become a successful revenue-driven company. And to do this, the main focus for both Palantir and Sarcos right now, as stated by one of Palantir's engineers, is to help Sarcos on the road to commercialization. And to do this, Sarcos is utilizing what Palantir is considering their third platform, called Apollo. And Apollo is what Palantir calls their continuous delivery system that basically sits between the end user and their software platforms like Gotham and Foundry. And because Apollo was built as a standalone platform and conceived alongside Foundry, it was initially built as the automation and delivery system for their public cloud SaaS, or software as a service. So basically, Palantir needed a unifying tool to bring the same SaaS platform to all of their customers, regardless of environment constraints. So they built Apollo to run as its own standalone platform, independent and decoupled from Foundry, running as a layer that sits between the applications and the underlying infrastructure. So for Sarcos, Apollo manages and safely deploys the Foundry platform to Sarcos. You can kind of think of Apollo as the brain that automates a lot of the complexities of writing code. It's configured to decide what to upgrade, when to do it, and how. It monitors developer releases, resolves dependencies, and deploys new versions, which is honestly perfect for the robotic industries. And this approach will allow Sarcos to roll out updates to all of their robotics more efficiently, while also collecting the data from their robotics in an extremely efficient way as well, which will save on both time and the costs associated with storing massive terabytes of data on the cloud. And the final reason for this Sarcos and Palantir partnership is probably the most obvious. Foundry will serve as Sarcos' main platform for deploying and maintaining their software and how it's deployed to and from their robotics. So overall, while Sarcos might not be the prettiest stock graph to look at, it's still an extremely intriguing company. It's not personally something that I would invest in right now, but nonetheless, I still think it's important to look at Palantir's investments every once in a while and see how these companies are going to develop over time, since how these companies develop over time is undoubtedly going to shape how Palantir grows as a business moving forward. And I'll wrap up the video here. Thanks as always, guys, and I'll catch you next time.